Hi, my name is Teresa, and this is my story. I'm currently on my own journey of trying to figure out why some people consider Jesus to be God. I think that Jesus was an amazing person. I definitely think he's somebody to model my life after. I would love to live a life that's more in line with Jesus. And I do believe that he died on the cross for our sins. But it's very difficult for me to understand or to know why I should call what appears to be another human being God. And that is something that I feel like is probably one of the most important declarations you can make in your life. It's not something that I take lightly, and it's definitely something that I don't want to get wrong. For the majority of my life, I would use the terms Jesus and God intermittently in conversation and in prayer, and just didn't really think much about it. I'm not really sure the exact moment when I started questioning it, but shortly after I got married, I remember I would ask my husband a lot of questions since he was raised in the church, and started asking him things like, well, why is it exactly that some people pray to Jesus and other people are praying to God, and how come they change it up? Who are they really praying to? And even though I knew I had a close relationship with God and I had a close experience with God, the more he talked about Jesus, the more I realized I really didn't know that much. And so it was like a whole new world to me. I went to church for a short time as a child and remember asking some questions that definitely weren't very popular, and just quickly learned to not really question out loud much of what was being taught to me. But I will say that the reverend of our church is probably the most kind-spirited man I've ever met. And so that is definitely the silver lining to my past church experiences. Some years later, I was going through a very hard time. I was in a very bad situation and would pray to God for courage and strength and the ability to help others. And in my young age, I think I just didn't realize the magnitude of the situation and what I was being faced with. As the situation escalated, though, I started asking God if maybe what I needed was a way out. I thought if I stayed long enough, I could be the saving grace to others, but started to realize that if I didn't get out, I may not make it out alive. I would ask God for a way out. He would provide it, and then I would think it was a fluke or not the right decision to leave. And I think that probably happened about 5 times before I finally thought to myself, look, he's providing a way out of this. I don't know what else I expect him to do. And so I finally left. Shortly after we married, my husband started bringing up that he wanted us all to go to church together, and I'm pretty sure my first response was absolutely not. The thought of going to church just made me sad and angry. I had had enough bad experiences with churches and people who called themselves Christians in the past that I thought for sure it would just be a situation that tore us down before it lifted us up, and I just didn't want any part to do with that. I also felt like because I didn't know a lot about the Bible and about Jesus, that I would really be frowned upon, and was afraid that that would extend to my family. And I think I was also afraid that eventually my husband would also start having negative thoughts about me as well. I came to him with a laundry list of things that basically I told him this is what you need to find in a church, and was convinced that he would absolutely never be able to find it. So after a couple of life changes and military moves later, we wound up in Maryland, and it seemed like as soon as we got here, he started the search again. We didn't know anybody, so really the only resource he had was to get on Google and look up different churches in our area, follow that up with some reviews, kind of cross-checked that with YouTube channels, and eventually came across Revolution. I joke that the first Sunday we came to Revolution, I had half a cheek off my bench seat ready to make a run for it. But we actually really enjoyed the sermon. And as soon as it was over, I think I pretty much practically tackled Josh and just told him that I was impressed, but I needed a little more background on the church and to know where they stood on some of their some controversial issues before I would consider coming back again. So we went home, we talked about it as a family, we listened to some of the prior podcasts that were up, and we went back the next week, and it's been a year and a half. I think we've missed 3 Sundays since then. Joining Revolution has really given me and my family so much of what we were searching for in our lives, even though my personal journey is maybe taking a little bit longer than I anticipated, trying to discover more about Jesus. As a family, we've always been interested in helping others, reaching out and really being a part of the community that we live in. And being a part of Revolution has really just enabled us to do so much more and reach so many people than we'd ever be able to do on our own. And it's just so amazing to see how this collective group of people show such love and support for each other in the community, and also recognize the different struggles and praises that we all have and what we're able to do not only as a group on Sundays, but also on an individual basis throughout the week. Being a part of Revolution has radically changed my outlook on Christianity, associating Christianity more with love and support than judgment and ridicule. I feel like for the first time in my life, I am becoming stronger and able to be so much more of myself, even while I'm trying to understand why some people believe that Jesus is God, and even trying to understand why I don't yet believe that Jesus is God. It has been amazing and so humbling to me that a group of people that I pretty much consider to be more of an enemy have given so much love and patience and given so much of themselves to me and my family. I might not be titled a Christian, but I couldn't be prouder to call Revolution my Christian family and walk alongside of them as I learn to believe.